so my name's Kevan Allen. I'm a creative director and choreographer. I've been working in the industry for many, many years through every aspect, from corporate shows to music videos to film to TV to theatre. I choreograph a wide variety of styles, from ballet to jazz to contemporary to lyrical, but I'm very much more an artistic director at the same time. So I look after the lighting and the music mixing and the whole idea of the storytelling, the whole synopsis, really.
Bit of everything then. Bit of everything.
Yeah. Over the years, I've kind of learned bits and gathered it bit by bit, whirling around in my head.
No, I bet. But then I start my interviews by scrolling back, really. Where did kind of your love and passion for the arts and dance begin?
Well, as a child, I was always very, very creative. I remember when I was about 5 or 6, I used to take my Disneyland long player records out and create Alice in Wonderland or Cinderella scenarios too with my friends. And maybe that's where the choreography kind of started. Definitely the music really fueled my ideas. And from then, my parents were very much into support of the theatre. They took me to the opera and quite a lot of different theatres and stuff. So that opened my eyes up to what was out there. And I think the first love, like everyone, was the musicals or the Disney films. It was something about the way the animation worked with the music, how it took you on a journey that just fueled my fire and passion as a child. And it's never really left me. And even to this day, when I hear those kind of musical scores, it takes me back to, oh, that's why I do it. It's that magic. It's that thing that we understand as theatre performers, you know.
Yes. And then Coppelia, if that's how I pronounce it, is that right?
Yeah, Coppelia. People don't know. It's one of the well-known ballets, but not as well known as Swan Lake or Sleeping Beauty or Nutcracker. People go, oh yes, Coppelia, I've heard of it and everything. Yes, I saw that as a child years and years ago, and always been fascinated by the story because it is quite fairy tale-like and folklore-like. I love the idea of this mechanical doll in a window more than the rest of the story. Like, why is this toy shop, this doll shop taking off? And I wanted to, with my company, create our first full-length work, something that had a slight relation to dance in it. So rather than something unknown, people in the dance world would go, oh, yes, okay. If you saw Swan Lake, you know, you can come see something dancey fight. So I thought, go with Coppelia, story that ignites me. I've made it quite dark and quite twisted. It's not so sugar-coated as the original ballet, but I think the original story hinted at that. There's a mechanical doll and everything. So yeah, Coppelia is very exciting. It's our first full-length run. We did do it in London a couple of years ago. We premiered it for 2 weeks. And we just lucked out. We had sold-out performances, 5-star reviews. People loved it. And since then, they've been saying to us, when is it going to go on tour? When can we see it again? But we're totally self-funded. We're a totally independent company. So obviously finances are a big thing. It's taken this long to be able to get it to the next point and hopefully take it outside of London and introduce the KVN company to different people around the world.
Fingers crossed. Why then do you think fairy tales work as ballets so well?
Maybe it's the magicness of it. The scores, especially like Delibes, the original score is very rich and very beautiful. They're like the pop songs of their time, you know, the orchestral thing. I think ballet's dance just lends well to fantasy. You know, I think it's just a very good mirage and magic, because dancing is quite a abnormal thing to do in a funny sort of way, the way we throw our bodies around and how we express ourselves. And that again goes into fantasy and folklore and things. So I think they just match really well together.
And then where does it really begin? Obviously, I know you said you did it a couple of years ago, but where's that start when you've got the story and then you've got to craft it into this ballet performance?
Well, as I said, it's a story that's always fascinated me. I, as a child, I could never understand why the villagers are so accepting of a clockwork doll being in the window of a shop, why that wasn't a problem to anyone, an issue to everyone. So I thought there was a lot more behind that story that I could delve into. I also love the idea of Dr Coppelius, the toy maker, and why he created the doll and what his story was. And so that kind of got the cogs turning. And then because it was always clockwork, I loved the rhythm of the cogs, the rhythm of the machinery, the rhythm of the ticking, which gave me a kind of orchestral score to go with. And I then decided I want to kind of really turn the whole ballet up on its head. So I researched all the original stories and versions of it, all the original ballets, took all of Delibes' score and literally taken all the essences from the stories and mixed them together, taken the orchestral score, thrown it on its head, put dubstep in and reverb and electronica and sampled it and changed it, taken all the characters and made them much more in-depth. We really find out why Dr. Coppelius made Coppelia in the first place. Is he really an eccentric man with these weird ideas that he can control villagers through his magic doll? Is he crazy, or has he actually got magic powers? There were so many, as I dealt into so many more layers that you could explore, that I just wanted to get my hands on it. And as a full-length piece, there's a lot of richness in the storytelling, from the love affair between Swanhilda and Franz and their relationship, how the doll comes between them, the villagers in the square, how the doll becomes when the villagers affects them, how the villagers affect Dr. Coppelius. So there were so many different aspects. I thought this is really interesting. And I have an amazing composer, Rickard Berg, I worked with before on some kind of commercial stuff, who comes to work with like Misha Paris and Rolling Stones, kind of very rock and roll. And I gave him this score. So this is beautiful score by Delibes. What can you do with this? And he's very much like me. He tore it apart and delved into it. And I think the pairing of it together, what I'm doing with visually and with the storytelling and the costumes and his amazing score, it completely reinvents the ballet. That's why we call it like beauty reinvented, ballet reinvented, revisited, because it's not pure ballet. Everyone thinks it's a ballet, but as a company, we're not rooted in any one form of dance. We pull from contemporary and Graham and Cunningham, ballet and street and hip hop and dub, everything. And the company itself has made a very diverse spectrum of dancers from all very different walks of life. So you've got an amazing hodgepodge of talent who wouldn't normally work together. Same thing with the story. But somehow it all just gels and it all works. And I think it's quite an exciting piece of theatre. I don't think it's really been done before to this scale. When we did the London run, we had a lot of people come to the performance who'd never even been to dance before, but they were intrigued by the artistry and the look of it and the ideas. And they came back, they did repeat bookings. They said they never knew dance could be this exciting. It's very, I guess I say our company is very accessible to what I want to call Joe Public. I don't want to alienate anybody. You know, if you love classical music, you'll love it. If you love electronic music, you'll love it. If you love hip hop, you love ballet. There's something there for everybody, and they all complement each other.
And obviously, it must be quite gratifying for you, having done it, like you say, in London, and people requesting it back. Is it? How was it? And obviously, do you then tweak it much at this stage when you are rehearsing again?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, we have some new company members on this outing because obviously not everyone's available this time around. And every dancer brings their own influences, their own styles, their own thought process. And because it is storytelling, they've got such strong characters. I very much work with them and say, let's develop that. What's your backstory? How do you feel about Coppelia or Franz? So I work with the company. So of course it evolves. As a choreographer, I love creating. So my worst nightmare is going back and going, I need to do 7, 8, and 1, 2. Can't do that. I'll it's vaguely that, and I'll reset it, and I'll work with the body, the human in front of me to make them look the best they can, and for them to tell the story as best they can. So it's exciting to revisit it. Slightly daunting. 2-hour like piece of work. Like, oh my goodness, how am I going to get? But once you get into it, the story and the score is so inspiring, you just get carried away. So it's really lovely to reinvent it and tweak the bits that maybe you rushed before, or tweak the bits like, oh, I'm always that awful creative, like, oh, I could do better, or I see all the things that are wrong rather than things that are right. I'm one of those annoying people, you know. So it's lovely to be able to come back and put things that I'm like, that always annoyed me. I'll just tweak it today. So it's lovely. It's lovely to come back to it.
Yes. And then how do you go about, I know you said about the different styles of not necessarily just traditional ballet. How do you go about making it, like you say, accessible for an audience in 2024?
I think it's quite hard to answer. I think from my own personal journey with dance, I've been obviously open to all kinds of styles and lots of dance pieces. And if I didn't understand dance, if I went to go and see something that was a piece of whale music and something very deep and meaningful on it, I wouldn't. I think with Coppelia and KVN, you get it from the word go. You get they're lovers. You get that's an evil rich family. You get that's mechanical doll. The music is relatable. It's stuff you hear on the world charts all the time, but remixed with the orchestral score. So hopefully my idea is that if you love classical music, you might hear this and you're hearing all the electronic, go, actually, that's quite interesting, and go and explore the electronic side. Vice versa. If you're just into like street music or commercial music, you hear this beautiful score, it might make actually, let's listen to the original Delibes score. So hopefully it might inspire people to go and revisit things they're not used to. And it's very it's just, I think dance as a whole can be quite alienating.
Yeah.
Especially with ballet, because they're in the opera house and it looks very elitist, though I know it isn't so much anymore. It's evolved so much. There's a general term, people do get a bit scared of it. People love musicals, they love plays. Dance is a funny one.
Yeah.
I've found that. So I'm trying to break down that barrier and say it doesn't have to be. It's an amazing evening out. It's a musical with no singing. The story's told, the music's amazing, but they're not singing. That's the only difference, you know?
Yes, I wholeheartedly agree. I mean, I'm terrible, probably one for being one that doesn't take enough chance on dance.
Right.
But like you say, when you do it though, like when you see it, it's just amazing how like you don't miss the talking because it's so like the storytelling's there.
Yeah. And I think also today with dance has come so far, even in like my lifetime, with all the things on TV, strictly the dance program for young dance companies, it's so much more accessible. And with social media, you can see so much more out there. I think people now are not so afraid. They're more open to try new things.
Yeah.
If I can entice people in by saying, well, there's some dubstep and some R&B in this section, and there's these amazing street dancers that you've been following on social media for years, come and have a look. And then they're confronted with like an amazing ballerina or the greatest dancer at the same time. It opens it to, I just think it's, the way forward is to not put barriers up and try and say what every form of dance is. We are a company who tells storytelling through movement, and movement can be anything, you know? So actually you can come and go, I could understand this, I'm sure. I'm not saying I have to understand Martha Graham or Cunningham or whatever. It's making it more accessible.
And you kind of touched on it there, social media and the world today. Do you think that's kind of changed your kind of like your career a little bit with choreographing? Because obviously you've got social media and TikTok and everything that's so everywhere.
Yeah, with social media is a curse and a joy, as I think everyone knows, really. What's interesting is like when I was training as a dancer, you only were open to things you could physically see. That you either taught or classes you went to or shows you went to see. There was very little on television. That's how you learned what dance is about. Now you can click a screen and you can see anything you want. Indian, Thai, but it's all there, all stars, new choreographers putting themselves out there, posting everything, so that there's this wealth of world talent that your eyes are open to. So consequently, dancers today are so much more advanced because they can turn their hand to central because they'll be able to see like, oh, I'd like to try that. Where we never had that when I was growing up as in my youth. And so I've luckily always been interested in that. So I've been the same thing. Oh, that looks great. And I've learned along the way. And I've had to adapt how I choreograph and how I style and what I want to do to fit the mood of the day. But also I'm like a sponge. I love it. So I'll absorb it. And I might look hideous in the mirror doing it. In my head, I'm fantastic.
Yeah, you're great.
But I'm understanding the rhythms, the grooves, the inclinations, where it comes from, because dancing ultimately is from the soul. So if you haven't got that, if you don't understand, you're never going to be a great dancer. It's like a singer. You can be taught to sing, but unless you've got that natural thing, you're not going to be a great singer. And it's the same with dancing, you know. So yeah, social media is great for, with my company, getting publicity out there, getting people to follow, getting the interest going, which again, that helps the marketing point from the business point of view. It's also exhausting because you're trying to dance a great day and then you've got to spend access to so time. So it's a love and hate curse. But I would say social media has expanded people's perception of what dance can be and visual arts can be. And I think that can only be good. That it's casting the net out wider, and also people that haven't got the opportunity or the finance to attend proper colleges or go to university stuff. You know, you can actually learn a lot. You can see where the classes are, the best teachers are. So I think as a web thing, it's really opened up the world of dance.
Yes. Now I'm going to throw you the really deep, hard-hitting question that's coming your way.
Okay, here we go. I'll concentrate. Yes, here we go.
This is from one of my writers in my team.
Yeah.
If you were a biscuit, what biscuit would you be and why?
Oh, well, my first reaction would be a bauble. Only because I love chocolate. But that, and maybe because it's quite plain outside it's off the center. Does that sound terrible? But it's not my favorite biscuit.
No,
It has to be chocolate related. So I guess if I was going to be a biscuit, you know, I think I'd be a chocolate chip cookie. I'd just be a dependable, you know what you're getting, little bits of chocolate in between it.
Yes, amazing. And then if you could have dinner with any three guests, doesn't have to be from the world of dance, who would you invite?
I would definitely invite Madonna, because I think she would terrify the life out of me.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you're never going to get to have a meal with Madonna, no matter what.
Yeah.
So Madonna would be one. I think I'd like to choose a politician, someone like Winston Churchill or someone, just to find a different side. You know, they helped us through the war. I mean, today we can't comprehend how that must have been. So Madonna, Winston Churchill, and probably Alan Carr, because it just makes me giggle non-stop. We need that ridiculous sense of humor, I think. Yeah, they'd be the three. That's a weird dinner party. But I serve them.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
And then, obviously, what kind of keeps you inspired as an artist when you're at this stage of your career? You've done amazing things to date. What kind of keeps you going?
I don't know. I think it's really hard to answer that. I'm always inspired. I'm always creating. And a lot of it comes from music. A lot of my whole life, even when I started, like I said, 5 years old, my Disney records, the music just transports me. I find it quite hard to watch films with lots of dialogue, or plays of dialogue, because my mind will just wander. So I think music definitely inspires me for everything. I also love keeping up with all the new trends that are coming out, and the new fashion designs and new photographers, and just seeing what's out there. As I said, I'm a bit like a sponge. I don't think I'll ever stop absorbing influences and things from everywhere. Maybe just the world of the arts inspires me. It is quite a hard one, because I've never stopped creating ever since I was like 5 or 6. You know, I used to have marionette puppets, and that was my creativity, doing puppet plays. And I moved on to like dancing, and then choreography, and it's just gone on. It's always been about make believe, and very much, I'm afraid to say, it really is fairy tales and folklore and fantasy that I love. You know.
Yeah. And then my final question. This is the chance for the big sell. Go for the big poster quote. Why should anyone who hasn't booked yet book to see Coppelia?
People should book to see Coppelia because it is a one-off. It's never really been done before in this style or this way. If you love slightly Tim Burton-esque kind of feel, if you love kind of fantasy, if you adore amazing music and you adore amazing variety of dance, it's a very different take on a dance production that you'll ever see. There's nothing out there like it at the moment. So please book. We're touring all over the UK. It's our big chance to take it outside of London and hopefully touch places that don't normally get this kind of production in their vicinity.
Amazing. Well, Kevan, thank you so much for your time. You must be saying the tour opens at the 10th of April at the KVN and runs through to the 30th of June.
It does. I know. We've got quite a few months ahead of us.